Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy. I'm Ted.
Dave.
It's nerd stuff for nerds, and today we're going to talk to you about game master tips, and we want to see what your opinion is on winging it. I've run many games, and there's lots of times that characters do things that are just way off of the script that you have planned. You can count on this much.
Yeah, pretty much every other game. Now, maybe not that bad, but you can, as the game master, plan out your session, write everything down, but inevitably what will happen is your players are going to do something you do not expect they're going to do. They're going to do the unexpected. And this can be an opportunity to have a really great game, or it can send your game right into the toilet, depending on how well you handle it and what exactly they're doing.
Like you write your material, and as many of you out there have done, the game starts at the ye old inn, and somebody comes walking in the door and announces their problem, and for the actual gaming client, this is your hook. This is where the players are supposed to latch on to the adventure that you have written, and they're gonna go off and do whatever grand design that you have. Now, for whatever reason, the players are engrossed in their own conversation, the back and forth. Maybe they just really don't like that hook. Maybe they got something against you personally, but they decide that they're not buying what you're selling, and they decide, you know what, I'm going to go over to the weapon shop, and they're going to go do something else. And this is where you encounter your first problem. What do you do?
Well, how you handle this, it gets better with experience. It can be hard for a new DM when all of a sudden you've put all this work into creating the adventure, setting it up, and you put out what you thought would be the unmistakable hook that the players are going to grab onto and grab it and go on your adventure. But they choose to do something else. So if you're new, this can be difficult, and then you have to figure out how to work around it. What are you going to do? Do you have something else that can tie into what they're trying to do? Do you need to take a 15-minute break so you can figure it out? I don't know, Ted. What would you do?
Well, for me, I've had a number of situations, and I'll get to a specific one in a minute. But I like to think that I'm pretty good on improving, winging it, and just come up with something else to do. But if you don't have that knack, if you haven't learned how to deal with a player who goes off, then just come up with some ready-made cue cards that can be fit in whatever scenario you happen to be in. If your story hook happens to be in a town, well, then you pull out your town cards and you pick up some role-playing situations and some other possible alternatives that are going to give them something to do without needing to write a full session's worth of material. If you have these encounter cards, you can either use them to get them back on track, get them to point back towards the hook, or give them something else to do, and you can work through those note cards, as the campaign. And you'll find that people will, as long as there's something to do, your players will still be entertained. You have to provide something, or here's the easy sink is, okay guys, what are you doing? If you just let the players have a moment to think, and you're not giving them anything, you'd be surprised at what they might come up with.
And scared. Maybe scared a little bit. But, there's something else too. So they get off track. You're a new DM, so you didn't know what to do, but you did have the forethought to have some just generic encounters planned, combat, non-combat, and you had them on hand. So you have stuff for the players to do that can be interjected into whatever they're doing right now, right? But also, don't be afraid to butcher the adventure you'd already planned. Like, if you have encounters in that adventure that you can shoehorn back into what they're doing now, use them. It's there. You took the time to make the encounter.
If they decide they're not going to go off and do what you have written, and they decide, you know what, they're going to just leave town. Well, if you put something else in there that ties in to the hook that you already had written, you can get the players back on track, and they might not even realize that they're in the middle of what you already have written without choosing to be there. You know, this farmer needs help with the, goblins attacking his village, and they leave town, and the farmer didn't know that they were called goblins. They just know that they're being attacked, and the players don't want to, fight goblins or fight these creatures. They go off, they fight goblins. Hey, they might like killing goblins, so let's go take out more. Next thing you know, they help the farmer without choosing to help the farmer. That specific example I was telling you about, fairly new in my DMing. We're having a little impromptu game session because we're bored, and I have everybody roll up first level characters. We're playing D&D, and this guy over here decides to play a wizard. And he's not just going to play any old wizard. He decides to specialize in enchanting, and his favorite spell is Charm Person. Now, if you're kind of new-ish to D&D, and you've never played, Advanced Second, Charm Person had a saving throw of, if they failed their initial, they could get another save in a month. So, it was...
You know what? It was based off their intelligence.
Oh.
That's why, we have other new additions, because some of the things were kind of broken and jacked. But someone of low or mid intelligence, you could keep them charmed forever.
So this guy decides, you know what? I'm a wizard. I don't need to leave town. And, not to draw things out here, but he eventually said, forget this whole storyline. We only roleplayed, for the entire session. There was no combat, short of making saving throws, as he turned the inn, or the bar, into a brothel. Every single barmaid, unless I decided to make barmaids that had super intelligences that, for whatever reason decides they're waiting tables, that they're all his private whores. I just couldn't believe it. But rather than, having the fist of God backhand his wizard and, miraculously keep rolling 20s on all these saving throws, I just went along with it. And, it was comical, and here we are, decade or more later, still laughing at this, impromptu session that turned into a first-level wizard making more than enough money with prostitutes.
Well, matter of fact, too, it was kind of funny because, I designed this character in my head, and, rather quickly, that he was kind of an urban character, and of questionable morals, and I started doing this stuff, and then, Ted, being the great DM he is, he just went with it, and he started. I think he started introducing things that were more like intrigue stuff that would happen around a character doing what I was doing, starting a brothel. I don't remember quite, but didn't you have the Thieves Guild or something get in contact with me because I was muscling in on their turf?
I think that there might have been something like that. All I know is I originally planned without having character, backgrounds and whatnot. I said, okay, well, let me just do this thing, and it was gonna go kill some kobolds, go kill some goblins outside of town, and you got a street thief and a wizard that's not really wanting to leave town, and they just sit back and say, okay, well, we don't need to leave. We got enough right here. And that's where things started to roll. So you can find out that when you just embrace whatever the characters are deciding to do, that not only is your session going to be memorable, but the players are going to be talking about it for a long time. So be it winging it and just going with the flow, or plan some alternatives for your players in case they decide to go off script. You can't be afraid to just wing it, and you can't be afraid to let the players do what they're going to do, because you might be the storyteller, you might be the game master, dungeon master, whatever term you want to call yourself. But when you sit down at that table and you look across that group of fellows and say, what are you going to do? Don't be surprised when they do what you don't want them to. This is Ted.
And Dave.
This is Nerdarchy. You guys have a great one. We'll catch you next time.